Welcome to CP Radio, and I'm your host, Gio. Today I'm joined with my fellow drummers and co-hosts, Ben and Charlize. We have a very special guest in the studio today, and he is the drummer and vocalist for the legendary band Nile Rodgers CHIC, and he's also a producer and entrepreneur. Let's all please welcome the amazing Ralph Rolle to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, know what I mean?
So Ralph Rolle is here today blessing us with a wonderful workshop in the theater. But before we go ahead and join him for that, we have a couple questions that we would like to ask as fellow musicians and drummers and also young, aspiring, future entrepreneurs as well and musicians in the industry. So Ralph, again, thank you so much for being able to be here and bless us with your knowledge and your playing.
So glad to be here. I want to just thank Mr. Rodriguez for inviting me to come today. This is an awesome school you have here. I was given a tour. This place is ridiculous. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. But yeah, so my first question for you, Ralph, that I would like to ask is, how did your journey into professional drumming begin, and what has inspired you to pursue this career path, especially starting from such a young age to now?
Well, I started playing drums really around, I guess I was around 8 or 9. And the reason why I started, because my brother was actually the drummer before me. He's about 6 years older than me, and we shared a room, and I just followed everything he did. My mother was a single parent, so the man in the house was my brother, so I just followed all that he did. And one day I came home, and there was a drum set in the middle of our tiny room right between the beds, and I thought it was like Christmas, man. It was the best to see these drums, and I asked my brother, I said, can I play the drums? He said, yeah, of course you can play, but just don't switch them around because you're left-handed. So it was a righty kit. The ride cymbal was on the right side for all the drummers out there, you know what I'm talking about. But I had to reach over and play the ride because I was, that's my lead hand. And the snare, my right hand is on the snare. But I just loved playing the drums and just being around the drums. And then it grew to a point that I just wanted to play drums all the time. And I came home and the drums were not there anymore. So I asked my brother what happened to the drums. He wasn't home. He was at his girlfriend's house. And he said, well, I had to sell the drums because Michelle is pregnant, his girlfriend. And he needed the money, and, you're going to be an uncle and all of this stuff. And I just looked at him and said, but where's the drums? That's all I wanted to know. So for many years, I played everybody else's drums in the community. And then I got my first drum set. I was 18. I just graduated high school at 17, and I got my drums, and I practiced every day. And there was a guy in my building who was a professional musician. He was with a group called Musique, and they had a big hit song back in the 70s. And he heard me playing drums one day, and he said, you sound really good. Would you like to go to the audition because they need a drummer? And I said, yeah, of course. But you got to come up here and ask my mother. I just can't go. So he came up and he asked my mother if I could go, and I went. And I did the audition. I got the gig, and it was a lot of firsts. It was my first professional gig. It was my first time with a passport. It was my first time on a plane. It was my first time out of the country. It was a tour of Mexico for 3 weeks, so I saw a lot of the country, and that was the spark. That's what just got me going. And if my idea is, this is the beginning, I want to keep going. My mother was really upset that I wanted to be a professional drummer because I was going to go to school for engineering. Like my brother's an engineer, and I got skipped a year, so I was kind of smart in school. So when I told her I wanted to be a drummer, she said, I think you just lost your mind. But I told her, no, that's what I want to do, and I did. I just kept working hard and growing my career.
Wow. And fast forward, here you are.
Yeah, right?
You still want to be an engineer?
Actually, no. No, I'm 100% sure that even with all the sacrifices and ups and downs that the music business can give you, that I absolutely made the right choice. I got a chance to see the world being a musician, where if I was an engineer, it would have been a little different.
Yeah.
So I think I made the right choice for me.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, how did you navigate your mom's like opinion? Cause that kind of.
By showing her how hard I was working. Because I used to, she would come home from work just around 6 o'clock, and I had already been home and practicing on my pad because I didn't have a drum set when I was in high school. And every day she would come home from work, she'd go, all right, I got a headache. And I'm like, you just walked through I know, but in my head, I stopped. So then I would go across the street and play on my friend's drum set, Artie. But it was just a constant, just warning and sometimes you have to prove to your parents what you want because, they raised you to do good things. And sometimes they feel like you're too young to make a decision about what's good. So if that's the case, you have to just show them that this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
And constantly show them this is what you
And
want to do.
it's by being like consistent. Just being
Consistency is very important. Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, and like that's something that I deal with my mom. That's just like I wanted to ask how you navigated that, but like my style of drumming has definitely like changed just from being in like the environment of a bunch of different musical people and different styles. So I want to ask, how did growing up in the Bronx affect like your musical style, your taste, how you decided to practice or play, those types of things?
Good question. I grew up in the Bronx, and actually my generation is a few, maybe 2 generations away from you guys. I was fortunate to grow up when music in America, in the world, was transforming into everything from rock and roll, R&B, soul, and then jazz, modern jazz, fusion, and then along comes hip hop. And so we got the cross section of all of these different styles of music, all at the same time. The difference is that if we didn't hear it on the record, you had to go either to a library, someone's house, or buy the record. And what was cool then is they had something called liner notes. So when you turned over the album, they had all these cool like notes or something about the artist that you would read. So it was really cool. I really wish that they would have liner notes now because you get more of an insight into the album that you're going to listen to, why this person did it, what inspired them to write these songs. You can read who the musicians were. So it was just a little bit of a different time, but I think you guys are in a much better time. But that whole inspiration and stuff just kind of sparked me to continue just moving forward.
I wanted to ask you, like, growing up as well, like, what was, like, the genres that got you inspired, like, in the beginning, and how did it, like, change throughout time?
Good question. The big genre was Motown.
Yeah.
I was a Motown, and that's because of my brother. He had a reel-to-reel, this is before cassettes, and 8-tracks, and CDs and all of that. And he would record stuff off the radio, and most of the stuff on the station that he listened to that he liked was Motown R&B. So I grew up on everything Motown. The Temptations, I used to idolize. I knew all of their stats as much as all the names when they were born, their heights.
Yeah.
Damn.
I knew it. No,
I do that too.
I
I
was
just
a
like
straight
remember
groupie
those
for them.
facts.
And
Super fan.
Yeah, I was. But the sound, the drummers at Motown just had grooves that I just wanted to learn, and it was fun to dance to and listen to and play to. So Motown was that first music that I gravitated towards.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so, like, with your experience, like, how does that, like, now transform into what you do today, like, having, like, listened to those groups and being such a super fan?
Well, the good part is that the music is still very relevant in our current lives. Like, there are people that love Marvin Gaye. There's artists that are covering Marvin Gaye's style and having platinum sales. There's a new artist named October London.
Yes.
Who actually is one of my good friends, and also Mr. Rodriguez's good friend, Jerry Barnes. He's an artist that works with October.
Yeah.
And everyone thought it was Marvin Gaye, but it proved to all audiences how timeless that sound is and that music. So it kind of goes back to, if something's popular on the radio, you don't necessarily have to go in that direction. You can go where your heart says go, and just play that and learn that and understand that all of those, good music is good music.
Yeah.
And no one can tell you what good music is. You know, you might like thrash metal and somebody might like hip hop, but that doesn't make you a bad person or the other person. It's just who you are and what you. That's the beauty of music. That's the beauty of art overall. You know, I just came. My wife and I just went to see a show called Shen Yun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
And it's because both of our palettes of art is very open and wanting to just good, bad, or indifferent. We want to absorb, you know. And I tell that to anyone that's listening. Don't shut it down because it's something you don't understand. That could be food. That could be anything. Give it a try, so at least you can say, "Oh, okay, I do like that," or "It's not my cup of tea." But if you don't do that, then you're shutting yourself out of, you know, growth. So that's my Motown journey. That was a long journey.
I wanted to go back to you playing lefty, because I'm a lefty myself too.
Yes.
Even though I don't play open-handed, I play like regular. But that's just how I taught myself, you know, from the jump. But I wanted to know, like, you know, like your perspective on, you know, playing lefty while playing.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as regular. When you're playing an instrument, for example, Jimi Hendrix, one of the most famous guitar players, played lefty, and he played a righty guitar upside down.
Yep.
So it's no regular, is what my point.
Yeah.
So however you play and however you access the music is your style.
Totally.
Now, making adjustments on those styles is something that you will learn. But as long as the main thing that I teach, first and foremost, is having fun.
Yeah.
Out the box.
It's like the passion.
That's
That's the most important thing.
And in my master classes, you will see today,
Totally.
I will expound on that very beautiful word.
Totally.
But being left-handed almost came as an advantage because I'm an open-handed drummer. So I have a drum pad on my left side, so I can groove with my right hand while the drums are on my right. And on the left side, I'm playing the drum pad. And then sometimes I have to sing and play the drum pad and do the groove.
Yeah, so it works to your advantage for sure.
For me, it does.
Definitely.
For me, it does. I've found that it's very useful. My brother, who's an engineer, he's like Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. And he said, you know, Ralph, looking at your style, it seems as if you're taking the path of least resistance because your hands don't really cross as much as a righty drummer. And I'm looking at him going, wow, Sheldon. But he was right. And my hands very rarely cross because of that reason. So, but it all goes back to access. Whatever is comfortable for you to access what you're doing is what you do.
Totally.
So.
I also feel like if you put like 100 different drummers behind like the same set, everyone's gonna sound different. Everyone has like their own feel.
Right, and that's
you know.
that's the beauty of music is because, you know, I was talking to the young drummer here today, and I said, "What drums do you play on?" And his answer was almost exactly as mine before I got any endorsements. Anything anyone puts in front of me is what I play.
That's it.
And it's just connecting to the music on that instrument at that moment.
Like I just love playing. Like I don't care at all. That's just like the passion for it. You know?
I love the connection and the camaraderie between the people that are all playing together. You know, because it's all varied personalities, and through those varied personalities, now you got to paint a picture.
Yeah.
You got to put the canvas up, and somebody's got to grab some paint and a paintbrush and go, okay, so what are we painting today?
Yeah.
And even if you got to make the same painting the next day, it's never going to be exactly the same. That's the beauty of playing music.
The music. Sorry.
No, go. No.
The music just gives me something that nothing else gives me, too. You know, it's just like that. That's why I love it. You know, it's just.
And that's a good. If it takes you to a place that is positive, that's good. Know what I mean? I had to message y'all on that one.
Just once. Just once.
Just once.
No, but I was gonna ask you, your time being a professional musician at the age of 18, like that must have been tough.
You know, I didn't know if it was tough or not because I was having so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I was having a ball. And the good thing is that there's certain things that I gravitated towards, and there was certain things that I just totally stayed away from.
Mm.
And I gravitated towards wanting to learn more styles. And
Yeah.
I used to be in people's ear about, so when you did this, how did you, I wanted to learn. I was a constant, like, nudge, as this Yiddish word, and just nudge people about information. Give me the information. But the smart thing I did, I stayed away from drugs.
Mm.
I just saw what it did to everybody, and I just didn't want to look like that.
Yeah.
And really, and fast forward all of these many years, I still see what it's done to those folks. Some of them have come through it bravely and boldly and have gone on with their lives and realized I made a mistake. But some people didn't survive that. So I was a punk, and I wasn't going down. You know, I was a kid from the projects, was looking at everybody going, nah, I don't want to be. I don't want to. The biggest thing was I didn't want to disappoint my mother. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want her picking me up from no precinct or anything, so I just didn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, go
sorry,
ahead.
you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna. Sorry,
You can
Gio,
go
my
ahead.
bad.
All right. Well,
I was gonna ask, with with your decades of experience, right? Give me like a memorable story, I guess / moment of like when you were out with Sting or like Nile Rodgers, one of them.
So
whichever one.
One of the stories I tell in my master class is when I met Sting for the first time. It was the first time I met him. It was at a very brief, and it was also the first time that I played with Nile Rodgers because he was the co-musical director for a woman named Katie Couric, whose husband died of colon cancer, I believe, or prostate cancer. But so she had a foundation, and all of these stars came out to support, and he was there. And he walked in. It wasn't really much interaction. But the second time I met him, he came into to do another foundation that Nile Rodgers runs and his wife called We Are Family Foundation. And he was one of the singers. So we're at rehearsal and we're doing the songs, and he walks in, and I just, like, my brain just froze. And Sting just walked in. It was just a regular dude. He was the nicest guy and treated everyone like, it wasn't like he was Sting and we were the band. He was like, I'm what's up, guys? So on a break, I always ask if I'm doing the right thing to whoever's in charge. So we're playing his music, so I said, is it cool back here on the drums? He said, yeah, it's great. And he said, come on, let's take a picture. And we take a picture, and he puts his head on my head. I'm like, oh my God. and it was a great gig. And I think Sting just comes from a musical background of clubs and people and just being, even though he's done all these great things, to me, many of the people that I've worked with are just regular folks that happen to get fame and fortune from something they had created.
Thank you.
But that's important.
Totally.
I totally understand.
Ralph, I had a really good a question for you. Like, you've been fortunate enough to play with a bunch of people, like you said, and travel. But one of the things you're known for is your association with the Apollo Theater and also Ray Chu and the crew. What is your connection with that, and like any memories you would like to like share with us about the Apollo Theater?
Yes. So for those who don't know, the Apollo Theater is equivalent to playing at the Grand Ole Opry, or one of the important theaters in the world, Broadway theaters like the Luntfontein. It's like an iconic place. And all of the major artists for decades would come through the Apollo. But it's also very intimidating because they have this thing called Amateur Night that I played for many years, that they would literally boo you off the stage.
Oh my God.
That's where all of these shows that we see now, that was the model. The Apollo Amateur Night was the model. So there were people that came to the Apollo that got booed, like Lauryn Hill. I watched her get booed on TV. Yeah, I did.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she got through it, but I watched the Lauryn Hill get booed. And if
Like you were there?
I was there.
Wow.
If you go on YouTube, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But what I loved about the Apollo was just the energy when you walked into the building. First time I walked in there, I started crying. Because it was like, I'm here. I made it. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the play. I sat in that audience and watched this just brand new group. First record haven't even come out yet, called the Jackson 5. And they had this singer named Michael Jackson. And I'm looking at him because our age is just a year apart. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do what that kid is doing because I think I have talent like that. So working there was an amazing time in my life. It was a tough time, but it was also a very amazing time to actually almost 2 decades play in a building that you've admired.
Yeah.
You know, when I first worked there, it was the building was in disarray, and the downstairs green room, bathroom, one of the doors were falling off, and I went and got my tools and fixed it. I didn't ask anybody. I just because it's a representation of the community, and the building didn't have money at the time. There was no foundations giving it a lot of money, so I just fixed it because that was just my love of working at the Apollo. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I've seen like a bunch of like even when we were talking about the Lauryn Hill when she got booed. That's actually an example that our teachers show us a lot. Like just kind of like as a motivational piece, like being like it doesn't matter like your downs as long as you can get up and just keep going. So we see that. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know the senior classes see that a bunch.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say one of our people here did the amateur night in the Apollo Theater.
Oh, Cordell, right?
Yeah, Cordell did it, and he was like, I was so scared they were gonna boo me off stage, but he did fantastic. And like,
there are established artists that played the Apollo that had nothing to do with amateur night that said that was the most nervous I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
But the thing about not getting the feeling that you thought you were going to get from the audience is important for growth. It is absolutely important that if you do a show, I did a show, this is 100% true. I was doing a show with an artist, I'll leave the name of the artist out, at the Stone Pony, where so many groups like Bruce Springsteen and came from down in South Jersey in Asbury Park. And we went all the way down to do the show, and not a single solitary person showed up. Not one person came.
Wow.
And the artist, I know he was hurt, but he said, all right, set up, let's do it. And we did it. We literally did a full show for no one. But the point is, he wasn't going to allow whoever promoted this and didn't do it right.
Throw it like off the whole show.
He said, no, we came to do a show, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I know it was painful, but he grew from it. We grew from it. And we played to an empty audience like there was a crowded audience.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes when bad things happen, and I've learned this in life, and another thing that I talk about, you have to find the lesson. You got to find the lesson in things that are bad, things that are negative, because if you don't, it can eat you alive. And we've seen people that have grieved for decades because someone passed away, or they lost a job, or their dog died, or their cat got hit by a car, and they just grieve and grieve and grieve and push themselves into a corner of non-growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is dangerous. So I've learned, and this is after my mother passed away, to find the positivity in everything negative. Just remember that.
Yeah.
So a good day,
I love that message.
a good day is a great day, and a great day is an amazing day, and a bad day is a good day.
So,
You got to always look to the up of all of it.
it's like the
Bad
point
days a
of
lesson.
view,
Yeah.
right? Point of
It's
view.
very
like,
important for your personal growth.
Yeah.
You know, in relationships, somebody break your heart. That doesn't mean everybody's gonna break your heart.
Yeah.
You know, you get it?
I
Got it.
completely understand.
Totally.
I was gonna ask, we're just like jumping back to when you were kind of like you kind of grew up from being 18. I suppose you're not 18 anymore, right? No.
19, hello.
No, but I was going to ask, what made you turn down the opportunity to play at the Democratic National Convention for Barack Obama?
Not only was it the Democratic National Convention, but it was actually the inaugural ball that came next.
So why you say no?
It was a career decision. I was working at the Apollo at the time, and I was asked to do it, and I said no because I was working with Nile Rodgers. I just started working with him, and Nile had gotten called to do something for the same weekend, the inaugural weekend, and I made the decision to work with him because I knew at that point my time at the Apollo should be ending because it just the relationship started to be very toxic. And it was painful because, as I said, I loved the Apollo, but I was bringing the toxicity home to my family. I'd come home with an attitude, I'm eating dinner like this, turning the channel, I'm not watching anything. So that energy just kept on and kept on. And my wife said to me, you can leave. And that was right at the time when I was asked to do the Democratic National Convention. And I just said, no, I don't think I want to do that. And it was painful because I really wanted to do it. But sometimes in life, you have to make decisions based on not only your forward motion, but your feeling and your family.
Yeah.
Because the brain, although it's a membrane, it's a muscle that, as I mentioned, has to be exercised in the proper way. And if I felt like if I would have done this, I would have hated the fact that I did it just because and not followed my true self. And I got to tell you, I made the right decision because I've been with Nile Rodgers now going on 19 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's been
raised the baby together.
It's been amazing. His attitude about music and life is very beautiful. And I tell you, everyone that's there, we have less problems than any band I've ever been in. And that was a great choice. And even at that age, it made me understand. I was in my 40s at the time, but it made me understand that you have to stick by your convictions, and you have to really not worry so much about politics, and follow your true passion. Because I didn't want to do something, and I knew I was going to be just very unhappy if I did it. So. I believe I made the right choice. And all my friends had a great time. So.
Well, Ralph, thank you again so much for coming out here.
Are we done?
Yeah, we have to wrap it up now to get to the workshop. No. Yeah, we have to wrap it up for the workshop. But again, thank you so much for sitting down with us and just sharing your knowledge and answering our questions.
Thank you for the
really
great question.
It.
This was amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, that's the end of our show, guys. Thank you so much. And for everyone who's seen it, again, round of applause for the great Ralph Rolle.
Know what I mean?